right, morning everybody. UFC 287 official weigh-ins just about to get underway here. We've got packed house, a lot of buzz this morning. We did see outside the room before we stepped in, we did see Alex Pereira, towel draped over his head, wearing plastics, getting his cut on. So we'll see. Obviously, the headliners, they'll allow them to go first if they're ready to go. See the staff filing in here. Obviously, Alex does not have the easiest weight cuts by any stretch of the imagination, so we'll see if he is first or if he comes in later, but commission is getting in place. Looks like we're about ready to go. Mark Fellows, what's up? Always good to see you, my man. Appreciate you. Embedded already in place. Got to think one of our feature fighters, maybe Israel Adesanya's first. Maybe Alex is here. We'll find out.
They'll make it in this new era. The Red Sox will fucking make it.
All right, thank you all for being here for the official weigh-in for UFC 287, Pereira versus Adesanya 2, and our first athlete to the stage, one of the men around whom this fight card was built, the future Hall of Famer and former UFC middleweight champion, the last style bender, Israel Adesanya. The official weight for Israel Adesanya. All right, next athlete to the scale. You can see her compete live on ESPN, the number 10 ranked strawweight in the world, Michelle Waterson Gomez. $116 for Michelle Waterson Gomez. next athlete to the stage, competing live on pay-per-view, the number 6 ranked bantamweight in the world out of Woburn, Massachusetts, Rob Font. Official weight 135 for Rob Font.
Thank you.
All right, next fighter competes in a prelim in the featherweight division, Shaila Nurdanbeka. .146, the official weight for Shaila Nurdanbeka. All right, next fighter to the stage, competing in the featured prelim in the middleweight division, live on ESPN, the 14th ranked contender, the Action Man, Chris Curtis. .186 pounds, the official weight for Chris Curtis. Next to the stage is his opponent, the number 15 ranked middleweight in the world, Kelvin Gastelum. .185, the official weight for Kelvin Gastelum. All right, next fighter to the scale, competing live on pay-per-view in the welterweight division, Kevin Trailblazer Holland. .170.5. 170 and a half, the official weight for Kevin Holland. All right, next fighter to the stage, also competing live on pay-per-view, the 12th ranked bantamweight in the world, Adrian Yanez. .135.5. 135 and a half for Adrian Yanez. All right, next fighter to the scale, competing in the UFC strawweight division, Lupi Godinez. .115.5. 115 and a half, the official weight for Lupi Godinez. right, next fighter to the stage, competing live on ESPN in the middleweight division, Joe Pyfer. Official weight 185 and a half for body bags, Joe Pyfer. All right, now back to the featherweight division as we say hello to Mean Machine Steve Garcia.
$145.5.
145 and a half, the official weight for Steve Garcia. All right, next fighter to the scale, set to compete at a catch weight of 160 pounds. He is Chile's Ignacio Bahamondes.
$159.5.
159 and a half, the official weight for La Jaula, Ignacio Bahamondes.
I see you, Milan.
All right, next fighter to weigh in, welterweight contender competing live on pay-per-view, Santiago Ponzinibbio.
$171.
171, the official weight for Santiago Ponzinibbio.
My man. How are you? Good. How are you?
You good?
I love you getting this shot.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's home.
In Florida, I'll take it.
All right, next fighter to the stage will be the first fighter to make the walk here at UFC 287 in the strawweight division, Sam Hughes.
$116.
116 pounds, the official weight for Sam Hughes. All right, next fighter to weigh in this morning, competing in a prelim live on ESPN in the middleweight division, Gerald Meerschaert.
$185.5.
185 and a half, the official weight for GM3, Gerald Meerschaert.
What's going on, everybody? Looks like we got ourselves a little first break of the morning. Checking in with everybody. Sound like the mic sounds terrible. Sorry to hear that. Yeah. Denial asking how you feel about Dana policing the presser. We talked about that yesterday. It was a wild one yesterday. Dana was in a bit of a mood yesterday. I'm not sure what that was all about. We were kind of speculating that, I don't know, maybe he's not loving the new deal that's in place, but definitely not sure. So, yeah, for anybody just joining us, Israel Adesanya did come in early, 184.5. Still waiting on Alex Pereira. We did see Alex Pereira cutting weight outside. When we first got here, we were waiting to get checked in. He had a towel draped over his head, so we couldn't really see him, and he was wearing plastics. But Glover Teixeira was walking with him, and did come over and just, kind of say hi, and didn't seem stressed. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, what's going on, guys? Good. So maybe that's a good sign that everything is going okay. Hopefully we don't get any shenanigans in this main event, because I know, man, I'm so excited for this one. We've been talking about it all week, but man, the psychology and everything. Really, the press conference yesterday with Israel Adesanya, I guess some people were kind of upset that he was short or whatever. But I loved it, man. Just like, hey, man, I'm not here to talk. I'm like, this is intense. I'm dialed in. This is what I need to do. So I liked it. But as far as Dana at the press conference yesterday was a little bit interesting. Okay, so you guys, I see Zach says Vince McMahon must have pissed in Dana's Cheerios yesterday. Denial. So you guys are all feeling the same as me, huh? Just, it was hard not to think that, like, something about that merger doesn't make him happy. And I know people are speculating, well, Vince is higher up on the structure or whatever. Like, I don't think Vince is going to be telling Dana what to do. But just the way he was acting yesterday, it did kind of seem like, what's going on here? Zach double the bet on Alex. It's crazy, man. I'm so torn on this fight, man. I feel like most fights I have a pretty good feel of what I think, and this one is just so tough because, I mean, again, and I said it going into the last one, and it kind of ended up so truthful, right? Is that, like, the majority of the rounds between these two have been won by Israel Adesanya, but Alex Pereira continues to find a way to win, including 2 by knockout. So I can't blame anybody that says they're betting on Alex. Especially getting Alex at dog money again, even though he's 3. I mean, just that alone, like, take the 2 people out of the equation. If you're like, hey, fighter A is an underdog, even though he's beaten fighter B 3 separate times. Like, I don't care who the names are, you take that bet, right? So crazy. Don Flamenco in here says it just possibly was on edge, making sure Holland Jorge didn't explode. See, that was interesting too, right? Like, so many dynamics there, right? Why wouldn't you let Holland and Jorge chirp a little bit, right? I mean, all that does is potentially sell maybe a future fight for either one of them, right? Because when you can have fights like that where it doesn't matter if they have title implications or anything like that, that would seem to be a good thing. But I don't know, were they worried about safety? Because, obviously Masvidal, much loved here in Miami. That whole crowd was obviously, I mean, incredibly, pro Masvidal, as you would expect. So is it because, Dana was worried like things might start popping off if Masvidal and Holland went at it? Maybe. Obviously, Holland, Chimaev, and maybe that factors into it. Everything that happened there. I don't know. It was just weird. It was weird, right? Like, yeah, the whole vibe was weird yesterday, and there has to be something to it. It can't just be, well, Dana was just in a bad mood. Nah, Something else. Something else. Chances Izzy walks out to Eminem. Denial. Can you give Alex the credit like we do to Anderson and Cheeto for taking and dating and processing our analysts on it? He does, but he's been finished late in the two knockouts have come late against Alex, right? So they haven't come early. It hasn't been a situation where he started slow and got caught while he was still kind of in that study mode. But absolutely, I mean, he is the observations that he makes, the level of expertise is incredible. So, man. Obviously, you know, I don't bet, but if I was putting some money down, I think I'd go Izzy. I mean, my pick, I'd go Izzy, but how can you doubt Alex either? It's crazy. It's crazy. Zach says allegedly. Allegedly. Let me scroll back up here, by the way. I didn't catch that earlier while we were on that nice run yet. Appreciate everybody doing this. Obviously, haven't been able to do this for a while, so thank you to everybody that's joining in. I know I'm not here every week, so I apologize. I wish I could deliver it every week, but it's been a crazy little run. It's been fun though, man. We had the back-to-back CFFC events. We had Fight League Atlantic. We had Empire MMA down in Columbia. So getting to do that all in consecutive weeks was crazy, man. It's been a wild month, man. Canada, Columbia, Philly, now Miami, all in a 4-week stretch. It's been fun, man. Sorry, yeah, I read that wrong. Alex deserves credit. Yeah, that was a good. Sorry, man. I read it and read Alex, and I was thinking Izzy. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't think of him as necessarily like a tactician that just needs to find that spot. I think of more as like brute force to find the opening. But yeah, I guess you have to. Oh yeah, denial. That's funny. Nah, all good, man. Thank you, brother. Humble pie tasted confusing. That was rough, man. Dude, I didn't even expect John Jones to win like that. I did. I mean, obviously we had some chats in here. Like I definitely expected John Jones to win, and I expected him to win convincingly, but not like that. That was crazy, man. Yeah, Alex is huge, man. Really is. Yeah, Zach, those back-to-back events last week were crazy. If anybody didn't watch the 2 CFFC events last weekend, take some time on and pull them up on UFC Fight Pass, the archives. And it won't take you that much time because, man, we had non-stop finishes. We had back-to-back fights, back-to-back fight nights, Friday and Saturday. I think the final results, I think we had 19 fights, and 15 of them were finishes. It's crazy. A bunch of first-round finishes. It was some really good performances. So it was nice. We had taken a break. It had been since December since we had done a show at CFFC. So the rest of the schedule, the rest of the year is busy, but which I like. I love it. But yeah, the shows last weekend were great. We're back in Tampa on April 20th, so just 2 weeks basically. Yeah, 19 fights, 15 finishes. Nuts. If Alex wins, it's Rob get the next shot, or is Alex moved to 2? So, Oscar, we talked to Alex a little bit about it. I mean, he does, I think those around admit 205 is in his future. It's just a matter of when. But it doesn't sound like he wants to go up right away. And it's interesting because there's some tough matchups for him at 185. You know, this is obviously a good stylistic matchup for him. There's some ones that are tough. But and I've said it a couple times since. It was actually the first time I thought about it when I was talking to CM Punk. Actually, when we were talking about this event at the CFSC shows because we were all fired up for this main event. But can you imagine what a star-making performance it would be for Alex Pereira if he won on Saturday night and then just like dropped the belt in the center of the cage and was like, I don't even want this belt. I just wanted to prove a point to you, Izzy, because obviously they keep citing the interview that he did that kind of motivate us. But what if he just dropped the belt and was like, I don't even want this thing. Like, I just wanted to prove a point to you. Now I'm going to 205. I mean, the star level people would be like, oh. But I don't think he's going to 205 right away. It wouldn't shock me. I mean, again, let's see what happens on the scale this morning. You know, on Wednesday he said he's not in a rush to get to 205. Maybe right now he's like, I'm never doing this again. You know, obviously he's a huge dude with big weight cuts. So we'll see. But at least earlier in the week he didn't sound like he was in a rush to get to 205. But I think he will go there in the future. Alex Avenges Glover. I like that. That's a good storyline too, right? To go up there. Look, I mean, Pereira matches up pretty well with Jamal. You know, I think that's stylistically that's an ideal matchup for him, right? There's some other matchups that make sense, so we'll see. In London, so they said they have a backup for every fight. So who is it today? Good question mark, fellas. What do you do? I mean, can you imagine? I mean, and they do usually have a backup. And I don't know that it's every fight, but 90% they do. But, I mean, who the hell else would you put in here? Like, what would even make sense? I mean, this is like grudge match, rivalry, everything on the line. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the backup fighter thing is not like a new phenomenon. They've had it forever. But it was so weird because Dana's like, in London, he was kind of like matter of fact, like, I don't know why it's such a big deal. But they never talk about it. Like, they never, I mean, it was funny. It was like, I don't know why this is news, or I can't remember what he said exactly, but it made it seem like shocking that we cared. But like in the past, we've asked, like, do you have a backup in place? Yeah. Who is it? We got it taken care of, you know. They don't really like to talk about it, so. All right, I can't deny you on that one, denial. Dana says whatever is convenient at the time, so keep that in mind. He does kind of change the things. So the funny thing about Dana is like he just legit does not care what anybody says about him. So, I mean, and honestly, it's an admirable quality. Like, to have your skin that thick where you don't give a flying F what anybody has to say about you is good. But sometimes because of that, like, he doesn't really worry. I have a little question when I say it, like, whatever. All right, looks like we got some movement. Commission getting back in place. It looks like we're going to get started again.
All right, next fighter to the stage, competing in the co-main event live on pay-per-view, the number 5 ranked welterweight contender, Gilbert Dorino Burns.
$170.
170 pounds, the official weight for Gilbert Dorino Burns.
I guess that was it. It's a little bit of a troll there. Gilbert Burns hit up the 305. I mean, he's 305 as well, so I guess you can't. Speaking of Rob, he's been told his next fight won't be announced until after this week. Then take that from that what you will. Okay, okay. Yeah, TTP is injured, and that's why Danny was mad. That might be it. They had to put off the plans for the African pay-per-view until he's healed up. No, you guys are right. Oscar Lara spot on here saying I have no problem with Colby being next, but why not wait until Jorge Gilbert? You know, I completely agree with that. I didn't understand Dana's insistence on saying Colby was next right away. Now, you heard at the press conference, it felt like he backed off a little bit, right? A little bit, maybe. But I just never understood, like, why you say that this doesn't matter. Like, it's at least it could factor in. Because, again, if Jorge wins this fight, and you got to think if Jorge wins this fight, it's going to be, I mean, he's going to catch him, right? Like, I don't necessarily see Jorge winning a decision here, right? It's going to be because he clips Gilbert Burns. Now, if he clips Gilbert Burns, gets the knockout in front of Miami, the crowd's going crazy. I mean, can you imagine the scene and the energy? And then you got that history with Leon Edwards, and Jorge's kind of admitted he's kind of thinking about the end, and if I can't win this fight, maybe I don't belong anymore, et cetera, et cetera. So like, you're only going to have so many opportunities to make this fight. And it might be just this. And obviously, he's got to get by Gilbert first, which, I'll be honest, I'm picking Gilbert Burns in that fight. But if he wins, like, why would you not want to capitalize on that in Leon? And that's not to say that Colby couldn't have next or whatever. Because, look, I can't remember who I was talking to. Somebody was like, if you make Colby wait, you either still get Colby Leon or you get Colby Jorge again. You know what I mean? So, like, both of those are big money fights. And Colby's shown a willingness to kind of sit out and wait for his opportunity. So, I don't know. I didn't understand the play on this one. And maybe it's a situation, again, kind of just said earlier, like Dan just kind of says what he wants at the time. Like, maybe he wasn't really thinking long term, like, oh, shit, yeah, I kind of need to make sure that I'm hyping that fight as well. But I just didn't understand it. Yeah, I mean, there you go, Mark Fellows. I mean, how can Colby be next? It might as well starches Burns and lights up the mic. Exactly. And, I know you're a Roadshow listener, so I always say this, and I hate it. I hate it because of everything that's happened with me and Colby, that, like, anything I say is going to be questioned, like, oh, of course you feel that way. But this literally has nothing to do with it. But it's just like, yeah. If Jorge wins, and Jorge's a star, bro, and then you bring up that history, and like you said, denial, put that 3-piece in a soda. I mean, that's your dolly through a bus window moment that just gets played over and over and over, and the history gets built up. And Jorge's so good on a mic, and again, tall order tomorrow night. Got to get past Gilbert Burns, but if so, I just don't see how you don't do that for the title shot. Yeah, Zach, man. Damn. Now you got me thinking, Zach. I mean, what better place to hang it up than in Miami, right? If you're Masvidal and you lose on Saturday, and again, we're talking about if he wins, you give him a title shot. If he loses, it would be pretty cool, right? I mean, what a scenario. He's talked about it this week. 20 years ago, I was here as a teenager, and I decided this is what I want to do with my life, and I've done this for the last 20 years. And I said I'd bring the show back, and now it's here. And it didn't go my way tonight, but I love you, 305, and I'm done. And call it. I mean, what better send-off would you ever get than in Miami? So, got me kind of emotional just thinking about it, man. It's crazy because I knew, but that's the other thing is Jorge makes a lot of money too, and I mean I know he doesn't want to stick around just to cash checks, but you're at your highest earning right now, so would you try to find a couple more fights somewhere here or there? Because like Gilbert Burns was saying, Masvidal is kind of like that new Nate Diaz right now. I mean, not new, he's been around, and they've kind of been linked together, but it's that same scenario, right, where it's like, okay, he's not a top contender right now, but he's still a superstar, and anybody that, anybody that fights him. Sorry, I was laughing. There's some live stream shenanigans happening in front of me. That would be a hell of a way to go out, man. That'd be a hell of a way to go out. Mark Fellas. Yeah, Denali, you're talking about his promotion taking out. We were actually talking with his team earlier this week, trying to do some work with them. But, I mean, they got game bred boxing. They got game bred bare knuckle MMA. They got game bred MMA. I mean, they got it all, right? They got three different promotions going at the same time. So, yeah, that's crazy, man. I hadn't thought about it. It's funny. I probably should have. I mean, I know the end's coming near, but I don't feel like it's time to walk away for him yet. Like you said, he's got a couple big money fights left. But what a cool send-off it would be, I always thought, like when Vanderlei fought at Saitama, I always thought that would have been like a cool moment for him to walk away at Saitama Super Arena. And I'm talking about his UFC days against Stan. Like, the sight of all the glory, because I feel like Vanderlei was like more known in Japan, even in Brazil in a way, or at least honored there, because of all the pride, glory that he had. And there's just moments like that, where it's like, okay, maybe you feel like you have 1 or 2 fights left, but what a beautiful moment to be able to call it. But again, man, and it's the reality of the sport too that's crazy. Is that like, at the time that you're thinking about walking away, at the end, that's when because your pay always goes up, right? So it's like you're at your highest earning potential at the moment that you have to call it a career, which is it's tough, right? And especially, like. And the fighter pays stuff. I mean, those figures that you see are whack. Like Jorge's making several million a fight, so it's like, do you call it or do you try to push it out? So, nice 1-punch KO right now. Normally I throw that one. I love the Friday morning one championship fights, man. Every Friday morning. It's tough for me in the Pacific time zone because usually by the time I wake up, it's like the main cards. I have to go back and watch it afterwards. But, man, the Muay Thai in 4-ounce gloves, like, I love it. But it's crazy. Cannot wait for that card in Denver, man. May 5th, I believe, is the date. May 5th. I know it's the first weekend in May. Can't wait. I'll be in Denver for that one, man. Love that one. That card is... got some stars, and I'm a big like submission grappling fan. Obviously, like sure, professional grappling. So I love seeing the submission grapplers at the high level. Like it's cool to see Danielle Kelly. She came through a CFFC and now she's crushed it and won championship. But I think what they're doing cool is you literally have the best strikers on the planet, the best grapplers on the planet. Maybe you don't have all the best MMA fighters on the planet, but you got some of the absolute best in some of those other disciplines, so you can kind of build around that. So I love what they're doing. If you haven't watched the Friday one championship shows, they're fun. The Saturday ones are better, but oh yeah, yeah, that Muay Thai and MMA gloves, dude. Like, I don't know, man. When they first started doing that, I was like, "What? This is crazy!" Now I'm all about it, man. Yeah, I don't know about Fury grappling belts. We probably will. We're starting to do. I mean, I think we're gonna do 4, maybe 5 shows this year. So maybe we will. We've talked about it. But I know we're doing Memorial Day, and I think the plan right now is 2 grappling shows Memorial Day weekend, and I think one of them will be Or that thing's gonna take you out before the week gets over. You're like, get me out of this ballroom, dude. Well, sorry. It's actually probably not funny, but there's my man Koss. There's some cabling that's been taped down all week long, and he's tripped over. I've legit seen him trip over this cabling like 7 times. But yeah, so I think at least one of those shows on Memorial Day will have, some UFC names. So I haven't heard any of the matchups they're talking about yet. It usually kind of depends on, obviously a lot of it depends on schedule, like who just fought, who has fights coming up. But I love doing those shows with the UFC talent on them. Yeah, Mikey Musumeci is the man. Ruotolo brothers, legit. Man, Mark, I know that's what they're trying to do. I mean, obviously, John started talking about it right away after his last win. I think Joe Rogan mentioned on the mic that was their goal as well. But it doesn't sound like it's coming together quickly. I was a little worried about it from the start. It seemed like a quick turnaround for John. Still got to get Stipe involved. It's tough. Yeah, Zach, I think that's the plan. It's not 100% finalized yet. I'm sure it will be within the next week or two. But I think the tentative plans right now are back-to-back grappling shows. I love it because that means I get to go do commentary on 2 different nights. I don't have to put a suit on. I love doing the comment. When we first started doing the grappling, and Rob Haydak was like, hey, I kind of want the grappling to have a different vibe. So if you guys just want to wear kind of relaxed clothes, like a sweatshirt or something like that. I was like, what? Yeah. Can we do all grappling every time? I don't have to put a suit on? Yeah, I mean, Alex and Pereira, obviously we know that's working for International Fight Week as well. That's a phenomenal fight. Especially as good as Yair looked last time out. Great fight, but Mark Fellows. But I know they want to put John and Stipe on there, which would obviously step it up a little. International Fight Week, they want to make it a big deal. I'm looking really forward to the Hall of Fame ceremony this time, man. Such a good Hall of Fame class. Looking forward to seeing all those guys. Oh, yeah, Zach. Those are fun. Those are great. Rob's hanging out. Good time. It's just such a different vibe. Yeah, if anybody ever wants to come hang out at one of the grappling shows, definitely recommend it, man. It's a whole different vibe. It's fun. It's just laid back. Everybody's chilling, having a good time. It's cool. Like, even the competitors, especially the UFC athletes, like they're intense. Like, they're competitive. They want to win, but it's a different vibe than like when you're worried about getting knocked out and brain damage and stuff. All right, commission back in place. Let's get going. Or not.
Our next fighter to the stage, the man who got us back to the 305, the unquestioned King of Miami, and number 11 ranked UFC welterweight contender Jorge Gamebred Masvidal.
$171.
171 pounds, the official weight for Gamebred, Jorge Masvidal.
I guess we're just going to be getting one at a time on the way. What do we got here? Let's see. Denial, thoughts on Kayla not doing the PFL tourney this season. You know, it's funny. So at the start of last season, I asked her, you know, I mean, do you think this is your last season? She was like, yeah. And not, I mean, obviously she thought at one point that she was leaving the PFL and going to Bellator. You know, she had signed a contract with them. That's all been well documented. She signed a contract, and then PFL matched it. But she had said, and you know, she had said repeatedly, like, this schedule's too much. Like, fighting 4 times, especially now that I have kids, like, it's too much. It's just, I just can't. And they set up her contract that way. And I think they structured her contract in a way where it wouldn't be financially viable for the PFL to have her in the tournament either. So, I mean, I think they were all on the same page. And then, of course, she loses, and that changes everything. And now she's like, I want to go, you know, I want to get back in there and win. And totally understandable, man. She's a competitor, man. That's what I love about her. She's such a fierce competitor. But, you know, they had kind of structured the deal to where she was going to be kind of a feature fight type fighter. And that's how they built the plans. They made the plans. So, you know, I get it. It's just sometimes when you build, especially, you know, when you're trying to run a business, you can't pivot on a dime like that and change everything. So I get it. I'd love to see her in the tournament, but, you know, she kind of made the decision that she didn't want to be in it, and they kind of structured the contract that way. So, I can turn the annex mic down. There, maybe be better. Yair and Marino are wild stories if you break it off. Dude, I mean, just the state that Mexico's in right now is awesome, right? I mean, Yair Moreno Grosso, how cool is that for Mexican MMA? It'll be a damn shame if they don't go to Mexico City this year. I know that Dana was quoted as saying, like, I don't know if it's in the plans or not. That would be a damn shame. And I think, you know, you put Grasso on that one, you put Moreno on that one. Obviously, we already knew Yair was going to end up with Volkanovski on International Fight Week, and that makes sense. I mean, those two dudes are, you know, especially Volkanovski, obviously, like, he doesn't need to go in anybody's backyard. He's a global superstar. So him being part of Fight Week is awesome. But, man, you know, Mexico, September, you know, around their Independence Day, I mean, what a cool thing that would be. John, you and Ariel should go in an actual physical MMA Hall of Fame. It's interesting. I mean, there does need to be an MMA Hall of Fame at one point. You know, I think, you know, there's been, in similar ways to the reason that fighters have never come together, the mixed martial arts journalists of the world have never quite come together either. We've had a couple starts and stops in terms of an association. Yeah, maybe that's something I can do sometime. I would like to see us all come together. You know, you have like the Boxing Writers Association. They have like their annual awards and that sort of thing. I mean, most major sports have it, and we've never done it. Everybody's always struggled to come together. It would be kind of cool to see it all done. Now you got my mind thinking. Now, an actual physical Hall of Fame. Now you're talking investment dollars and all that stuff because you got to get it up and operating. But yeah, I don't know if you could get the UFC on board because they have their own Hall of Fame. But there does need to be a mixed martial arts Hall of Fame, and not just. I mean, even the way the UFC does the Hall of Fame. Maybe I don't know. I wish there was a physical UFC Hall of Fame. I'd always thought, first when they built the big nice headquarters, I was like, well, that'd be cool to have something there, but then that becomes like a security risk, right? I mean, you got like people coming in and out and all that. And then when they signed the anchor contract with T-Mobile Arena, where it was like, hey, we'll do 4 shows a year here, and it's kind of cool. Like if you go in T-Mobile Arena, like there's UFC signage up year round, like whether or not there's a UFC event or not. I thought that would be cool, to have like a space in there maybe that had like a Hall of Fame. But I think it would be so cool to have like an actual Hall of Fame, and you're like cool stuff from people. Here's Hoist Gracie's gi. Here's Art Jimerson's glove. I mean, I know a lot of that stuff is gone, but whatever you could. Here's a piece of the canvas. Here's the chair from Madison Square Garden. Stuff like that. It'd be cool. Don, I was like, damn, you talking trash. Yeah, Chrissy, too funny. Let's see here. Josh Hernandez, what's going on? Yeah, sorry I haven't been around much. I've been traveling a lot. Like I said, trying to book more commentary and having to miss some shows. I really don't, to be honest, I love being here, man. There's no place I'd rather be, but fight weeks are long, man. I had to leave on Tuesday. I don't get back till Sunday. Missing my kids' jiu-jitsu practice, a soccer practice, but I love being here for fights. There's no better place to be. Denial. Now don't forget, Kayla thought she was gone. Kayla signed the contract with Bellator, and the whole thing was there were terms there that they didn't think PFL would match, but because they didn't wait out the matching period, Bellator still had the matching rights, and they thought that they had built a contract that PFL wouldn't be able to match, right? PFL did match it, so that's why she stayed. So it's not, not that there's anything wrong with the PFL, but if you look at Kayla and be like, oh, you didn't want to leave, like, no, she did, she tried, and I hope we get her and Cyborg, her and Amanda. I feel weird about that one just because, like, I know Kayla never meant for there to be any disrespect towards Amanda Nunes, but I know Amanda felt disrespected, right? Like, she felt, because Kayla always said, like, I would love to fight, Amanda, but out of sheer respect, like, I want what she has, and she always said the most respectful. She's like, I don't want a Colby Jorge type situation here, I want it to be with the utmost respect, but I know Amanda felt like, people were picking sides against her or whatever, so she didn't like it. So I kind of feel bad about that one because I have a lot of respect for Amanda too, right? Like, how do you not? So if she's uncomfortable with it, kind of like, but Kayla Cyborg, I'd love to see Kayla Cyborg. So hopefully find a way to make it out. And, you saw the event with Ryzen, but it's tough, man. Co-promotions are tough, and it all boils down to money. It just really all boils down to money. Like, that's it. It's not who's scared or who's whatever. It's, what broadcasting platform does it go on? Who gets to call the fights? The advertising space on the mats? Who gets to use that? The commercial inventory? Who gets to sell that? The sponsors that have paid all this money? Is their product featured, or does your organization have a competing brand? My organization is sponsored by Bud Light. Your organization is sponsored by Miller Lite. Which one gets to put their advertising? You know what I mean? It's just all that stuff. It's the crap. Chrissy, years are grown. Yeah, I think that's the way I kind of look at it. Is like, once my kid's out of the house, then after that, I don't care if I'm gone every week. I mean, I love my wife, but I think she needs me out of the house sometimes. She needs a week away from me every now and then. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure anybody here that's a parent can relate. It's like, once my kid turned 10, I just had this stark realization that, man, it wasn't going to be too much longer before he was out of the house and gone. And I just don't want to waste that time, man. You don't get it back, right? You don't get it back. Yeah, Joseph, we were talking about that earlier, man. Dana was in a mood yesterday. And I'm still trying to figure out what it was. And we were all talking about it afterwards. Still trying to figure out exactly what it was. Because, like, okay, so I started out main event, co-main event. Main event, champ challenger. And then I was like, well, I haven't heard from Dana about the WWE. Let's hear what he has to say. And I think because that's the biggest question I think everybody keeps asking is, what does it mean for the fans? Like, how does this going to impact the product? I personally have gone on record saying I don't think it's going to impact the product a whole lot as far as the front facing. I mean, behind the scenes it will. But I don't think it's going to cause any huge changes. So, anyway, figured, hey, give him a chance to address that because I hear a lot of fans asking. He tells me, hey, man, we're not talking about that today. It's just about the people up here. Like, okay, no big deal. But then, like, as things went on, he keeps shutting stuff down. So, I don't know. We were trying to figure out, does he not want to talk about the WWE thing? And so that kind of, because people were bringing up, like, wrestling questions, and that was making him mad. Were there security clearance? I don't know. It was interesting. I don't know what the basis of it was. All right, commission back in place. We'll keep going. See if we can get more than one.
I usually know what's wrong, but I knew if you fucked that up, I'm lost.
All right, next athlete to weigh in this morning, kicking off the pay-per-view main card in the UFC's bantamweight division, Raul Rosas Jr. Official weight 135 for Raul Rosas Jr. All right, next fighter to the scale, the 15th ranked strawweight contender, Luana Pinheiro.
$115.5.
115.5, the official weight for Luana Pinheiro.
All right. So let's see what we got left here. Still obviously waiting on Alex Pereira. That's the big one. But you kind of always knew that was going to be late, right? He always comes in awfully late in the session. No secret. That's a tough weight cut. Still waiting on Christian Rodriguez as well. The heavyweights, Chase Sherman and Carl Williams. Neither of them here yet. They're probably sitting down, sipping some coffee, having a little breakfast buffet. Cynthia Calvillo as well. Trey Ogden and Jacqueline Amarim. Let's see. Joseph Bilotti. Rumors are Vancouver is the front runner to have UFC 289. Correct. From what we're hearing, it's all based on which hockey arena is available. Essentially, I think there's Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver. I think it's just a matter of which arena is available, basically. Yeah, Denial. That's the other one too. I didn't want to jinx her, but as I read her name, I thought, ooh, that's one too. Don says, once the WWE UFC tees, do you think joint streaming service is in play? I 100% think joint streaming service is in play. And it's one reason these things align so big. I mean, look, it's going to take a lot of money. But, you look at like Apple, Amazon. We hear Netflix is trying to get into like more live action type stuff. I know they're losing some subscribers. I think they're trying to get into more live. I mean, live content's where it's at, right? And the unique thing about both the UFC and WWE is it's year round. There is no off season. Like, you get content all year long. So I definitely think something like that is in play. Now, the problem is their deals don't align perfectly, so you'd have to have kind of an interim type play. But, I mean, they can totally do that. And then you start thinking about crazy stuff like, okay, if Endeavor already controls the UFC and controls WWE, like, what if they decided they want to buy ESPN? We hear that ESPN, the Disney's trying to circle that off a little bit. So imagine that. I mean, crazy stuff that could happen. So we'll see. John Castillo and his RV on the way to Texas. Good morning, sir. I like it. Watching from the RV. I dig it. On the way to Texas. Always be home for me. I mean, I've been in Vegas since '08, so it's basically home now, but my family's still in Texas. Scroll up a little bit here. Chrissy K. I don't think Dana wanted anyone knowing about the merger. I mean, I don't think that's a $21 billion company. I don't think that's something you can really hide, but it did seem like, I don't know, like you didn't exactly love it. I'm still laughing at the cuck. Really.
I was going to jump on the 125.
Chrissy, I'm still trying to figure out why my Endeavor stock hasn't gone up. What does Endeavor stock trade at these days? Let me pull that up. I mean, geez, all these acquisitions, the debt load is crazy, right? So Endeavor is down 16% over the past year. That's interesting. Trading at 22.84 with a 52-week high of 28.81, a 52-week low of 17.42.
All right, next athlete to the scale in the UFC strawweight division, Jacqueline Amarim.
$115.5.
115 and a half, the official weight for Jackie Amarim.
Admittedly, the first time I've ever seen Jacqueline weigh in, but that did not look particularly pleasant. A lot of hype around her, though, for sure. A lot of hype around her. Excited to see the debut. I see you, Mark Phillips.
All right, next fighter weighing this morning, competing at a catch weight of 160 pounds, Trey Ogden.
$159.5.
159 and a half, the official weight for Trey Ogden.
All right, well, still plenty of time remaining. 55 minutes or so left. At this point, Cynthia Calvillo, Chase Sherman, Carl Williams, who are both enjoying breakfast, Christian Rodriguez, and Alex Pereira. It looks like you guys are all in agreement with me on Jacqueline. Hopefully all is good there. Like I said, I've never seen her weigh in, so I don't know if that's just typically the way she looks, but I've seen her fight, but I've never seen her weigh in before. So maybe that's just the way she looks, but it did not look incredibly comfortable up there to me. And yeah, as Zach said, tough matchup. Sam Hughes is a tough matchup. I mean, I think a lot of people are really, really high on Jacqueline MRM, but not a gimme. Vince looks like Wario. Yo, that mustache is crazy, right? We can all admit that mustache is a little bit crazy. Vince McMahon's really pissing off WWE fans. I don't follow much over there, so I don't know much about the wrestling world. I mean, I do know that there was like lawsuits and hush money and payoffs and whatever, like crazy. I just, I've seen a lot of people make something out of the fact that like Dana's technically lower on the organizational structure chart than Vince, but I don't know that matters. I mean, I can see Dana feeling maybe like disrespected, like maybe that's why he was in a bad mood, because he's pissed off that they didn't put him on an equal footing with Vince or something. But like, as far as Vince actually telling Dana what to do, like, don't forget, like, Ari's been Dana's agent for a long time. Like, they're good friends, and Ari's not gonna set up Dana to have somebody telling him what to do. Like, he knows that doesn't work. Dana's not the kind of guy to be listening to somebody telling him what to do. So And again, I mean, they just have different operations. And every time I've ever heard Dana talk about Vince, it's in a pretty respectful manner. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, they're both kind of titans of their own industry. So, all right, looks like we're getting back to business again.
All right, next fighter to the stage, competing in the heavyweight division in a prelim live on ESPN, Carl Williams.
$241.
241 pounds, the official weight for Carl Williams.
Thank you, guys. I'm not that heavy. I'm not that heavy.
Yeah, no politics, no politics. We're just talking about fights in here. Yeah, I agree with Don. Let's not put that in the universe. But yes, I think you would. But we're not going to put that in the universe. Yeah, man, Chase Sherman is an adventure, right? In and out, in and out. It's tough, man. We talked to him a few times at media days. He just admits, what a mental struggle it is, the anxiety that he gets, that sort of thing. It's tough, man. It's such a tough sport. No guarantees. Sacrificing everything. Can all change in a heartbeat, man. It's wild. Yeah, I know, denial. She was like, I should just not even answer, but I was like, I'll answer it anyway. Well, I'm not putting it out there. Yeah, we still got plenty of time. 48 minutes left. At this point, we're just waiting on Cynthia Calvillo, Chase Sherman, Alex Pereira. to scroll back through. I was trying to remember. I was like, did I miss Christian Rodriguez? No, but we're still waiting on Christian Rodriguez as well. Yeah, hopefully everything's good. Zach, if someone like Cynthia Calvillo were to miss, good question. They should get the extra hour, if I remember right, from Florida. I believe Florida is one of the commissions that does give them an extra hour. I seem to remember that from our stint in Jacksonville, if I recall correctly, that they do give an extra hour here. I think pretty much everybody's doing the extra hour now, although that wasn't really supposed to be designed that way. The whole 2-hour window thing was supposed to include the extra hour, but that's been kind of changed over time. Chrissy, I think Alex will move up a weight class. So, like I said, he talked earlier this week. He didn't seem in a rush to move up, but I think it's inevitable that he does move up at some point. And again, it was kind of what we were talking about. I think there's some good matchups for him at 205. There's some people at 185 I would definitely pick over him just based on the grappling game. I mean, no secret, right? I mean, he's working on grappling just like anybody else, but he's a striker at heart. And those people that find their styles based in grappling are going to be tough challenges for him. I'm anxious to see Chris Daukaus at light heavyweight. I kind of always felt like it looked like, it looked like it was something he could make if he tried. I think he liked being kind of a smaller, more athletic. That's the thing about moving from heavyweight to light heavyweight is a lot of guys that can do that, and I think they're right. They feel like they lose some of their advantage. Some of the reason they like being heavyweight is because they feel like they're lighter, quicker, and they have an athletic advantage when they compete at heavyweight, and they're kind of right about that, so definitely not a guarantee. Hope we get Alex Robb before he goes up. Phenomenal fight. I like that fight too. That's a good one. Stylistic, that's a really good fight. I told them they could make 185. Good Lord. I mean, they have that scanner thing they have with Dexa, I don't know, something like that. I know it does like your full body. It scans your skeletal frame, your muscle tissue. Like it's pretty cool science, man. So 44 minutes remaining. Cynthia Calvillo, Chase Sherman, Christian Rodriguez, Alex Pereira. Ceremonial weigh-ins this afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern. And the fights tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern for the early prelims, 8 p.m. Eastern for the prelims, 10 p.m. for the main card. Looking forward to this. Next week, I'm staying in Vegas, cover PFL. 3 weeks in Vegas. I only get to go to one show. I feel kind of bad. They were in my backyard for 3 weeks. I only got to go once. So PFL 3 next week. Looking ahead to UFC 288, does Sterling have to beat Triple C to finally get the respect he deserves? Man, I'm a big Aljamain Sterling fan. I love that guy. His game, I love it. I mean, I'm a big grappling fan, so like I love his style. I love his attitude. This is a good dude. Like, this is a nice guy. But I have seen it over his career, man. That dude has never gotten respect. And it's crazy to me. I kind of feel like if he beats Cejudo, people are just going to kind of write him off then too. That guy was out for a long time. I mean, you beat him coming off the couch. If that was Cejudo in his prime, I don't think you'd be able to beat him. That's unfortunate. That's what a lot of people do. But I mean, that would be a phenomenal win. Yeah, Zach saying the same thing. He'll just say, beat the guy coming out of retirement. Exactly. I just feel like he never gets the respect that he deserves. Miami is a good place, Chrissy. It's going to be I'm so excited for this fight tomorrow night. But, yeah, not a bad place to have it either. Miami's a cool town. And it's actually warm here, which is great. I've been so annoyed at how cold it's been in Vegas all year long so far. I think when I get back, it's back at like 9,500 degrees. So I think that time's over. But spring has been so damn cold. So it was kind of nice to get here and be nice and warm. And you heard Dana yesterday say this is one of the biggest gates they've ever had. So they'll definitely be back in Miami. So, 20 years between events. But it looks like the drought is over if you're a South Florida fan. Yeah, I don't get it with Aljamain, man. Like, I mean, you look at the run he's on right now. Brett Johns, Cody Stammen, Jimmy Rivera, Pedro Munoz, Corey Sandhagen, Peter Yan. Okay, obviously we know what happened there, but then Peter Yan again, TJ Dillashaw. That's a hell of a run, man. That's a hell of a run. And I mean, I know the people are upset about the DQ win, but that's not him. That's not his fault. But I feel like he had haters well before the DQ and still afterwards. Well, okay. In fairness, West Coast. Yeah. Cold for Vegas, I should say, not actually cold. But yeah, it's cold. I feel like the spring's been super cold. All right, I see Cody Merrill jumping in. What's going on? Cody Merrill in the house. He came fashionably late to come in and check out and see if Alex Pereira will make weight without issue. Oh, there you go. Florida Keys, nice. I've never been to the Florida Keys. I traveled a lot, but I've never been to the Florida Keys. Denial, graphics guy is late. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. take the family down. That'd be a good vacation. Starting to get to the point now where my kid can actually appreciate stuff, and he's old enough that I know he'll remember it. You fighting betting dude on the early prelims. Yeah, I thought there was some unnecessary grief given about those. I agree. So we were actually talking about this last night. The tweets that came up, we were talking about. So I don't know if it was the same gentleman or not, but at the media day he was asking everybody about odds as well. But I felt like he was asking in a better manner. You know, like, oh, you're a massive underdog. You feel disrespected by that, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's still, at the end of the day, the betting lines are kind of irrelevant to the fighters themselves. Like, I just, look, it's been asked over and over. I know sports gambling is getting more and more prominent. But, like, I mean, for the most part, the fighters don't give two shits about the odds, right? But I do feel like there's better. But that whole, I agree with Cody, man. That whole, like, are you a lock to win? Like, what's somebody going to say? Like, no, I'm not really a lock to win. To be, if I'm being honest with you, I don't really like my chances in this fight. So if I were you, I'd put your money on the other guy, because if I'm since you asked me, I'm gonna go ahead and be honest with you and be like, this is a terrible stylistic matchup for me. Like, it just, I don't know, man. I don't get it. But are you a lock? Nothing on from the Texas Commission thus far. And unfortunately, my home state, obviously I've been in Vegas since '08, so I'm kind of transplanted now, but Texas will always be my home. My family's still there. And I hate that the commission has kind of got the reputation that it does, but it does. And, I kind of tweet about that afterwards too. Like, it's not even so much about like, oh, punish that guy, or, never let him ref again. He's no, it's more like, what steps are we going to take to make sure that doesn't happen again? What education is he going to go through? What retraining is he going to receive? What recertification is he going to go through? Because, the next two athletes under his watch need to know that, man. They have to trust that you're going to look out for them. I mean, that's what this is about. So I haven't heard anything from the commission, unfortunately. I haven't seen anything from the commission. I don't know anything's going to happen from the commission, but I would love to see. I wish there was something more. But Joseph, you think about this. Sending two former UFC fighters against their champions is a bad look. Why is it a bad look? It's kind of a good look. If you take UFC fighters and you give them the toughest matchup possible with your existing fighters, and your existing fighters beat them, now you get to say, see, told you our guys were good. If you sign UFC fighters and they come and they dominate your roster, then that just kind of feeds into the idea that the UFC fighters are the best. Because that's the whole thing about MMA that hopefully everybody realizes, that, like, the UFC has by far the deepest roster on earth. There's no question about it. I mean, the number 50 dude in the UFC is a badass. Like, their roster is deep. But there are good fighters everywhere. Every organization has really good fighters. Like, you don't have to be in the UFC to be a really good fighter. But I always say, if you want to be considered number one in the world, you probably need to be in the UFC, because you just need to get those tests over and over and over. You need to be fighting the best in the world. That's how you get to be number one in the world. So, if you're a rival organization, whether it be the PFL or somebody else, signing a UFC athlete and bringing them over and getting them beat isn't necessarily a bad look for you. It I think kind of shows to people that you have badasses on your roster too. Yeah, Cody, I'll actually be at PFL next week. Finally, I'm looking forward to it. Being a ref is not an easy job, Chrissy says. 100% right. It is not an easy job. It's, all right, we got some movement here, but it's not an easy job. But I just would like to hear, like, what's the education, what's the content, et cetera, et cetera. So, all right, back to work.
All right, next fighter to the scale, the man around whom this fight card was built, the undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Poatan Alex Pereira.
$185.
185 pounds, the official weight for Alex Pereira. And with that, your UFC 287 main event is now official.
All right, there you go. It's official. Gotta do a little bit of quick editing. All right, so that leaves us with just Cynthia Calvillo, Chase Sherman, and Christian Rodriguez, but your main event now official. Reminds me of one of those assassins always hunting down Jason Bourne. Everyone's on IVs. Nice.
I mean, 2C. We're up in business.
All right, next fighter to hit the scale this morning, competing in a heavyweight prelim on ESPN, the Vanilla Gorilla, Chase Sherman.
$249.5.
249 and a half, the official weight for Chase Sherman.
Chase was kind of lean there, I thought. Cody says there's been zero denial of the IV situation from the Islam camp. Yeah, but there's also been zero proof that anything wrong was done. So, banishment was basically volunteer. Let's scrolling up a little bit. I always do say about people, like you can get certified as a ref, as a judge, and go do it. I mean, not that everybody has like the resources and the time to be able to do it, but like if you ever feel like I got to make a difference, man, I got to do it. Like you can do it. You can absolutely go do it. Just with beers. Funny. I turned Annex mic way down too. I turned that input way down. You gotta go further. Still 25 minutes left. Just Cynthia Calvillo and Christian Rodriguez left to go. Heavyweights are even done. Main event's done. Alex Pereira came in about a little less than 90 minutes later than Israel Adesanya. But both of them on. Got ourselves a title fight. Oh, I need some coffee. Yeah, the heavyweight showing up at 10:30. That's the Andre Arlovsky policy. Started doing this 2-hour windows. He was always about a 10:30 guy. I thought they had to look good on the scale as well. That last one in New York was a little bit scary. I didn't watch that one in person. I flew in the next day. Got a CFFC the night before, I think. But I remember seeing the images and the video. But today, man, I thought he looked solid. Appreciate the Roadshow plug there, Cody Merrill. always marketing. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think he'd take some time away and then see, because you got to think Alex Pereira is going to 205 at some point. So, I mean, I think Izzy could retire if he wanted to, for everything I understand financially where he's at and opportunities, but I do think he enjoys competing as well and likes to cash those paycheck as well. Oh, Mark Fellows, hot tea is not, well, maybe a little hungover, but not terribly hungover. I think he's being quiet because he's up there next to Jose Young's. Jose's live streaming as well. Just trying not to bleed over him. crazy tomorrow, man. The East Coast, the late start time, 6 p.m. Eastern start time. I got some time to kill. Yeah, Mark Fells. I'll let him broadcast on his own thing. I don't think his employers like it when he works with anybody from Junkie, so since Kenny's still there, we always just kind of leave Jose off to the side. He was kind enough to have us to his penthouse suite the other day. This is nice. We all got ridiculous rooms. My room's so big, I actually called my wife and was like, hey, do you guys want to come out here this week? Like I got like a whole apartment to myself. But my kid had some stuff to do in school, so he couldn't come out. But Jose got the best one of all. He's got the penthouse. He's got this huge, like, massive balcony overlooking the ocean. You're right, Denal. He did start that. He was the first one to get kind of shot down yesterday, wasn't he? And then it all tailed downhill from there. I was saying, like, I feel bad. I wonder if, like, if there were any journalists there yesterday that were, like, kind of new and had never, like, asked a question before and you know, were like, oh, yeah, can't wait to ask a question. And then and then the journalist starts hearing Dana, like, tell people they're stupid and shut up. And then it's like, nah, never mind. I'm not asking a question today. All right, 20 minutes left, 2 people to go. Chris, you should have Jose. He's got like 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, fold out sofa. He's got the penthouse. He's on the top floor. Yeah, it's really nice. It's a DoubleTree Grand Suites, I think it's called, or something like that. I don't know. But they have like a regular hotel portion. But for whatever reason, man, they upgraded all of us. I don't know if they're just like sold out and oversold or what the hell. But literally, like me, Oscar. Actually, Oscar didn't get upgraded. He's the only one that didn't. But me, Cold Coffee, Jose, we all got like massive apartments, condos. But Jose had the penthouse. Yeah, he's probably better off. He's kind of sketchy. He's got purple earrings, man. It's kind of different. Got ceremonial weigh-ins this afternoon at 4. Get the final face-offs. I'm guessing we get an awfully intense Israel Adesanya. Thought we had a nice face-off yesterday at the press conference. Dana had to get in between them, push them away. You guys are bringing the heat. Mike Perry. I'll tell you what, I was a little bit bummed I didn't get to go to that press conference on Tuesday. If they would have just held it Monday, I could have gone, but I was flying out on Tuesday. But again, PFL did 2 events in Vegas. I didn't go to either one of them. I'm going to one next week. And they had a KFC does a press conference. I didn't get to go to that either in Vegas. But I wish they would have done that one day earlier. How you doing, sir?
You're busy.
You know, just trying to stay busy. Trying to work.
All good.
All good. Got us a title fight. We're good.
The rest of it's okay.
Yeah. That was the Honorable Mark Ratner coming to say hello. I mean, by the way, the Honorable Mark Ratner is wearing a Beastie Boys Check Your Head t-shirt, which I've seen him wear before. He's worn that a couple times over the years, but I always love that. Anytime he busts out the Beastie Boys Check Your Head t-shirt, I get a little excited. Perry wiping a booger on the jacket. Oh no. I didn't see that happen. I heard somebody making her. That's funny. I didn't know it was them. Big Ben Rothwell, man. He loves it over there. He's been great. Spirits. Their heavyweight division. He doesn't have to cut down to 265 anymore, so he feels healthy there. And I know he loves. He just feels like he gets to show his personality. Josh Thompson blocked me. Now, did you say it in a nice way? Or did you say something kind of rude, mannish? Be honest. Own up. Because, I mean, if he blocked you just for saying PFL is more exciting than Bellator, that's kind of shady. But if you said it in a rude fashion. Hey, that was a pretty, that win over Nate Diaz, man. That was a crazy one. So I haven't even seen the press conference yet because I've been so busy since I got here. I have to go watch it. I like to hear Big Ben stole the show. Ben's a good dude, man. I'll go check it out. You weren't rude? Well, then, that's ridiculous. I'm going to trust you on that. I appreciate that you're owning it. Yeah, you're willing to say it. If you weren't rude, then that's ridiculous. Just sharing someone's opinion should not get them blocked. Yeah, I'll go watch that today. I'll watch the press this afternoon. I'm gonna go after this. Got to walk back over to my hotel until the ceremonial, so I'll pull it up and watch it over there. Okay, movement again. We'll see if it's the final 2. Still 13 minutes left.
All right, next fighter to weigh in this morning, competing on the pay-per-view main card in the UFC men's bantamweight division, Christian Rodriguez.
$137.5.
137.5 for Christian Rodriguez, pound and a half over the bantamweight limit.
We'll await word on that. Obviously not the best look there. I can't imagine they're going to want him to continue cutting weight. Doctors will do a lot more evaluation there, but yeah, I'm with you, Oscar Law. I can't imagine. I mean, the doctors know, but I mean, look, dehydration is never good, right? So what doctor's gonna be like, yeah, just keep cutting him? But he didn't look good. Man is still waiting on Carvillo. Yeah. Appreciate Cody. Yeah, that's the MMA Roadshow. If anybody didn't listen to the MMA Roadshow this week, highly recommended podcast. But yeah, the Raul Rosas Jr.'s discussion is interesting, man. Like I said, he's brash, but at 18, I mean, dude, can't imagine being in front of the public eye at 18. Good point too. I didn't even think about that. The years that he missed in the pandemic. That's crazy. How that, man.
Looks as though Christian Rodriguez is going to take the allotted hour and try to cut the final pound and a hook.
Okay, so there's the announcement that he will try to take an extra hour. I mean, good, I guess.
All right, and our final athlete to weigh in this morning, the 15th ranked flyweight competing in the women's strawweight division tomorrow night, Cynthia Calvillo.
$116.
116 pounds, the official weight for Cynthia Calvillo. We're still likely to get a second attempt from Christian Rodriguez, but thank you all for coming out to the official weigh, and we will see you at Kaseya Center for the ceremonials at 4.
Yeah, I thought that was a good weigh in there from Cynthia. Yeah, a little surprised we're getting an extra weigh in from Christian. I mean, obviously love to see him make weight, but that's tough. I don't know. What do you think? Should we just stick around for next hour? We're going to start copying some files and doing some stuff.
I've been hiding. I mean, I have been around, but I don't know what to say, like, things. It's like, by the time
Luger style. Too funny. Oh yeah, I'll hang out for a little while. Why not? I got nothing else to do. Start editing some photos a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it has nothing to do with the stage, I would think so, but I'm not the guy to ask, but I would think so, you know? Yeah, just to double check.
So, on the beach? Yes. Let's go. Hey man, how are you? Good morning.
Yeah. They're breaking everything down. You can see how quickly. Well, you know, it's like the same crew. They all got to like shift over and go do the ceremonials and stuff. So they got to do all that as well. It's pitch black. That's too funny. Hold on, let's see. I could change the ISO. Let's see.
Now you're an ass.
Producing on the fly. You gonna get breakfast? It's not a bad idea. I've now been tempted with breakfast. Yeah, they're shutting everything down. All right. Well, listen. We'll get you an update as quickly as possible. Everybody, now they got gear in front of me. But I appreciate it. It's been a while. Thanks everybody for joining. Had fun chatting with y'all. It's been a while, I know. We'll try to do this more frequently. Ceremony this afternoon, fights tomorrow, and a half episode at patreon.com/TMARoadshow. Thanks for chatting, everybody. Have a great day. Bacon, egg, and cheese. All right, Manish. Bacon, egg, and cheese. Coming your way. See you guys.